Hey y'all, it's Nancy, the Handy Scandy, and thank you for joining me for another video today. I am sharing with you a card that I created for the Technique Junkies design team, and I am so in love with this. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. I am actually going to just let the music play for a little bit in certain parts so we can just kind of watch the watercolor process, because it's a very cathartic and peaceful and mindful process for me. And so as I do that, I just want you to be able to just enjoy the process and just take some quiet time. So if this isn't your kind of thing, feel free to skip on out of this video, but I hope you enjoy. So right now I am painting up the little cardinals from this stamp from Technique Junkies. It's called Cardinal from Heaven. And it says, when a cardinal appears in your yard, it's a visitor from heaven. And I don't know if y'all are believers in that or not, but I have to say I have seen some cardinals arrive at some very weird times, and maybe it just warms my heart or makes the grieving process easier to think that, you know, it's a visitor from heaven, that it's my sweet baby girl visiting me from heaven in the form of a cardinal. I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think about that. But anyway, so I colored up the little birdies on the stamp because this card, if you saw in the beginning, is actually a very kind of muted, deep gray greens, and I'm going to be stamping and heat embossing it in silver. The stamp I'm going to be stamping and heat embossing in silver over the background that I'm about to start painting here, and I wasn't sure if the birds would show up very well or not, so I just wanted to have a plan B. Look at me being organized and planning ahead. So anyway, I did color those up, painted those up with my Arteza watercolors, and I set it aside. So here I have cut down a piece of watercolor paper. I think it's like, I don't know, it's just a little over 6 by 6, and I taped it down, and I just made a mixture of different shades of green and black and really watered it down. And so this background part, I don't know, it essentially just creates the illusion of depth, if you will. So I'm just painting this on really lightly, really loosely, just letting the water kind of move that paint around to just create whatever it wants to create. So we'll just watch this for a little bit before I dig in deeper. Okay, so you can see that background. Earlier I had some spots that were almost super dark in comparison, and I dabbed some of that up and I heat embossed. Well, I didn't heat emboss, but I dried it with my heat gun. And now I'm just coming in a little bit different paintbrush and a little bit deeper greens, just to again create the image of trees. And you just kind of dabbing your brush along. I did watch a couple different videos to kind of figure out what I was doing, and again, this is my first time, so I think it's not too bad. What do you guys think? So again, there's just kind of the illusion of trees. So you can see that background layer. You can see I've got a couple other layers. They're just, and the layers are indicated by the depth of the color, if you will, at least on my card. I don't know if that's correct or not, but we're just going to watch again while I continue to do the same thing, adding branches and just kind of tapping my brush along to again create that illusion. And from time to time I will darken some of the tree trunks as well. So let's just watch. Okay, again, I'm just using various shades of kind of hunter green, olive green, evergreen, those deep dark shades of green, and mixing it with some black. And so depending on the mixture of the greens, the amount of black that I put in there, and the amount of water is what dictates how dark the colors actually are. And so here again I took a different brush. This one's more of a rounded tip. The one I was using earlier is a bit more of a flat tip. So of course they're going to give you different stroke marks, different brush marks. And this one, you just kind of tip your brush, you use the brush on the side, if you will. And so there were some times when I had my brush up and down and I was getting a very different effect, so I had to go in and just kind of move it around. And again, watercolor is so very forgiving. You can paint over it again and just make it what you want to be. So here I'm adding some suggestion again of more trees in the background to give it some more depth and perspective. Some smaller ones, some bigger ones, some up close, some far away. And it's just a very, very simple monochromatic painting. Oh, now guys, I know I've talked to you before about the Shimmering Bliss from Technique Junkies. I can't tell you how much I love this product. I have several colors now and I use them to paint with. I splatter them, sometimes I'll spray them. I've even seen Pat will actually put a little bit of the pigment out on a palette and stamp with it. Use that as her stamping medium. It's beautiful. I'm sure I'll be doing some more videos just on this product coming up soon. I was adding some of the Shimmering Bliss to the Cardinals. I had picked up a paintbrush and it still had red paint in it, so I forgot to clean it before I put it in there. And when I dabbed it into the Shimmering Bliss, you can see that it turned the Shimmering Bliss red, so I just used it to add some shimmer to those red Cardinals. And then I just took the Shimmering Bliss and I spritzed it and I tapped it over my painting to give it some shimmer. And now I'm using the black, it's actually a black mixed with green, just to add some splatter. And then here I'm coming in with some gouache. All of these are Arteza, well, other than the Shimmering Bliss, the paints are Arteza products. So I'm using that fan brush and some watered down gouache to get the effect of snow. Again, hit it with my heat tool. And I just want to make sure that all of that gouache especially is dry before I pull up my tape. And I love this part. I love the whole part. So this is by no means professional. I have no idea what I'm doing except for the couple videos that I watched. But for my first time painting a scene all by myself, I feel like it turned out pretty nice. I like it. So I'm just trimming it down a little bit so that it's going to fit my card front. And here I have stamped the Cardinal stamp. Again, it's called Cardinal from Heaven from Technique Junkies. And again, it says when a cardinal appears in your yard, it's a visitor from heaven. And I am heat embossing that in Brutus Monroe Sterling embossing powder, and it's beautiful. It's just stunning. And I love the subtle tone-on-tone effect. The reader actually has to look closely. They have to kind of pour themselves into that scene, if you will, to be able to read the sentiment. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. Really happy with it. So here I'm using that tinted Shimmering Bliss again to paint in the little cardinals, because the cardinals are a part of the stamp. And so I'm just painting them in, adding a little bit of that red, a little bit of the Shimmering Bliss, and just painting them in to see if there's going to be enough of a contrast. Because in my brain I knew what I wanted, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be effective or not with the stamp being stamped in the silver. So I put a couple layers of the red and the shimmering bliss, and ultimately it just doesn't have enough contrast for me. So I'm taking these two little cardinals that I painted up in the beginning. I had heat embossed those in Ink-On 3 Black as Night embossing powder, painted them up, and just fussy cut them out. And of course, you know, you have to use a black marker or something to go around the edges of your fussy cut pieces so that you kind of hide those white edges, and it just cleans up the overall image. And I added some little foam squares. I cut them, trimmed them down a little bit so that they'll fit, and I'm just placing these cutout ones right over the stamped ones. The little cutout cardinals, I'm placing them over the stamped cardinals. Let's clarify. I think it's precious. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? So I'm just cleaning up my desk a little bit, but overall the card is done. I mounted the whole panel up on some foam tape and mounted it to the card base, and there it is. I really enjoyed this process, guys. Let me know what you think. If you're not already a subscriber to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you would. If you like this video and this card, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment downstairs. Let me know what you think, guys. Thanks. I'm Nancy, the Handy Scandy. See you next time. Bye-bye.